community, happy Monday. It's me, JC, back again, and today we're going to do something slightly different. Today we're going to talk about some lingering thoughts and questions about MOFIGATE, or the MOFI controversy. Most of you should know this, but first, for a quick recap, for those that maybe watch this video 5 years from now, if it's still on YouTube, MOFI over the last few months has released that most of their releases dating back even longer than we suspected are digital DSD files. Some are 64, some are 256. And there's varying points of disgust. Some people are super angry and some people don't care. The analogy that I first heard that sparked this was someone was saying, well, what if you found out that your designer purse for women that carry purses was fake? You thought it was real, you paid the real price for it, but you found out later that it was an imitation. Is that similar? And I could see why someone made that analogy, but at the same time, an album, if it sounded good before, it should still sound good now. With the purse, you are kind of paying for the name and the legitimacy of that name. But it got me to thinking. And about 10 years ago, when I was looking for an apartment, I walked into this apartment and the landlord lived upstairs. He had the apartment upstairs. And I said, oh, this room will be great for my record collection. He's like, you collect records? Let's go upstairs. I want to show you mine. He brings me up to his apartment and he had an awesome setup. The first thing he shows me was his turntable. The second thing he shows me is his MOFI collection. Because he knows instantly with that little banner, there is going to be some sort of registration in my brain, some sort of spark in my brain that says, this is cool, this sounds good. This is a premium product. So I can see why people made that analogy. So now something that you thought was real is fake. You thought it was all analog and it's not. It still sounds good. The fake purse still looks good. But it's no longer, in your head exactly what you thought the purchase was. And I think that's the analogy. Which brings me to my first real question for the vinyl community, which is, does this change your thoughts on labels like music on vinyl? For years, music on vinyl has gotten an unfair, in my opinion, bashing on some of the message boards, and some of the vinyl community members have said, yeah, but it's digital, right? That's what they always say. It's digital. Music on vinyl is digital. But for the most part, their albums sound great. Their covers are generally stellar. It's very rare that the product looks flimsy or it has like a scanned image or sounds awful. It's not that all music on vinyl, for the most part, sounds incredible to my ears. There are some that sound a little flat or some that could sound better. But that also could do with the mastering or the recording of the album even before music on vinyl pressed it. But for the vinyl community, my first question for you is, does this change your view on labels like music on vinyl? Are you more likely to purchase them now if you are someone that collected MOFI, or is it the same? That's my first question. My second question is, does it matter? And let me preface this first and give you the reason why I'm saying this. There's a great documentary by Dave Grohl called Sound City, talking about how in the early to mid 80s, people started to record digitally. A perfect example of that is Billy Joel. Billy Joel on the Nylon Curtain and every album after this was a digital recording. Same as Dire Straits with Brothers in Arms. Some fantastic albums. And even when the album was recorded on analog tape, there are still some bands that are using digital in the recording process. Now, I did buy this MOFI Nylon Curtain. I bought it when it first came out because it's one of my favorite albums. I also have a first pressing. And look, guys, with the hype. I'll be honest with you. This is cut at 45 RPMs. So I can hear a difference. But at the same time, is the difference, this cost me $8. This cost me $60. Is there a $51 difference? That is the question, guys. Do you think it's worth it? When you know it's digital, granted this is at 45 RPMs, is it night and day sound difference? Of course not, but as you know, once you hear something, it's hard to unhear it. So if something is cut at 45 RPMs and you start hearing nuances in the song that you didn't hear before, you can't unhear that. But if you don't own either, vinyl community, would you purchase the $8 record or the $59 record? You don't have to necessarily say this album if you don't like it, but just if you know it's digital, what are your thoughts? Which one would you purchase? And lastly, my last question for the vinyl community is, are you more likely to shell out the $60 for a MOFI pressing, knowing that it's DSD digital, or would you try to seek out a first pressing of an album? Would you try to find the most pristine copy you could of that album? That's a great question, especially for those that don't consider themselves audiophiles. What are your thoughts? First pressing, or would you still go out and get the MOFI? All right, guys, I'd love to get your feedback down below, and maybe we'll make a follow-up video if you have some great feedback in the comments. I will join you soon with another video. Peace, rock out, love you guys, bye.